Yeah, I'm mostly just here for the free wine though, so.
Ah, yes. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, it's nice, yeah.
No, I mean, the taste profile. What are you getting?
Everyone knows them. You know that those people, they like art and all these fancy high ideals. And everyone's talking about how sophisticated they are. Yeah, that's everyone that likes this game. You're trying to be smarter than you are. No one likes you. Most people see through it. It's not that good. Let's have a bit of a chat. Let's have a bit of a chat about it.
Boccherini was trying to say here.
Okay, look, man, I don't know. I don't really care.
Well,
so-
no, there are no wrong answers.
We'll get straight into this one. Intro is just going to be very quick. By now, I think most people have seen this game. A Plague Tale Innocence is set in France. I think it's in like 1346, early mid 14th century. Basically, Black Plague, but not quite how history remembers it coming through. The setting reflects that. Dark, death, very macabre. You see everywhere you go the impacts of war and plague to some degree. And inside this setting, you play the daughter of a noble lord within France, a landowner at the bare minimum, who is thrust into taking care of her ill younger brother. As always, we've got our 4 categories, a little bit different with immersion and impact, and game specific on this one. We'll explain when we get down there. Let's get straight into the gameplay. I'm really excited to meet the rat Rommel that coordinated this multiple directional strike from all angles of the church.
Hugo, take your sister's hand. I'll go first, and you just have to follow me, alright?
So in this game, as you kind of expect in a more narratively focused title, it's sort of a bit of stealth and a bit of puzzle solving-ish kind of stuff. Let's start with stealth. It's as basic as it gets. I have seen stealth systems in gaming like this since early 2000s. Armor reserve? What that?
What was that noise?
Right, let's go.
We're trying to be sneaky. We just had a whole conversation about in whispers. Bro, ding! What was that noise? He's a meter away. Right, let's go. That was so loud. How did you not hear that? Here's a ding on armor out in the open with nothing around it. And goes anything short of look. Okay, you know, something must have fallen down in the thing, like it, you know, fell on itself. Oh, it looks up, nothing above it. That was weird. What's going on in this here armor box? You see someone in here? Like, I don't care. I don't get paid enough to care. I'm here standing waiting for you to murder some peasants. Let me go about my day.
We have to get out of here first.
Alright.
Let's go.
Be right back. Be careful. You never know.
Never know what? You've just murdered everyone. You heard a pan go ding. You walk right up to the f***ing pan, a meter away from the pan, and you're like, Inquisitor, relax. This is not very difficult. Stay in the dark. The only sort of nuance to it is, you need to be mindful that there are rats that are going to keep you out of the dark, but Amnesia did this stuff better in terms of the dark will drive you insane and eventually you die. Like, it's not new. It's been done for years, but it's functional. That's a plus.
Yeah, let's not talk about it. Something will deck me.
But then this leads into your other side of it. There is combat as well, on top of the stealth and puzzles. And I sort of say it's a stealth puzzle game because combat isn't like combat in your normal sense. Most combat engagements are actually just a world puzzle that fights back in its own way. There's usually only 1 or 2 solutions to it, and it's less about Call of Duty in terms of your shooting skill, and it's more about solving the puzzle. And that's emphasized by how the gameplay works. I mean, you're an assassin.
Shoot harder? I don't know.
Hitman is jealous of your skills. Only headshots, instant kills every time. Accurate out to 30 meters with a sling. Mate, France won the war. And the reason France won the war is because they just put some little ladies on the front line with slings and they just headshot the entire English army from a good 30 meters plus as they run at them. I have killed so many people. Sorry. This is starting to get into an immersion of impact. Like, I'm already triggered, but from a gameplay perspective, it's more puzzle solving. And this leads to this really frustrating scenarios with the bosses. We'll talk about this a little bit later as well. But from a gameplay perspective, the bosses are just so boring and uninspired. It does not make for a compelling experience. And it almost makes you feel like this game should have been done more of like a Telltale format and just focusing in on the story, because combat is just
The criticism I was laying at the game about how it doesn't want you to play it.
Sooner or later.
which leads into the last one. We always play on the harder setting, and this game has no challenge. It is so convenient. You run out of resources, they just magically appear. Whatever you need, it's there. Like, there's no inventory management, there's no resource management, there's no actual gameplay challenge. The gameplay is there to slow you down, and how resources work just make you never need to make a tough call. Do I make this that lets me knock them out? But if I make that, I don't have the resources to then make this other tool that'll allow me to do X. It's full everything the whole game from start to finish. So you just do whatever you want. It's so convenient, and that's on the hardest setting.
Why are none of your men helping you? It's not like there's no moral reason for them not.
There's a lot of stuff in here. They've touched a lot of touchstones or pillars, but they're so shallow. It's like looking at a beautiful koi pond, and it looks amazing on the surface, and you can see the stepping stones through the middle of the pond, but the second you get to the edge and look in, you realize it's only that deep. The stealth headshot components, just delete as you go. Like I said, employ her as an assassin, you're good. You got the crafting system, which I'm going to put that to the side for a second, and then you've got the light-based puzzles. Okay. And Tomb Raider's got all this, it does it better. All of it. Better. By a mile. Like, I don't understand why we wouldn't have just focused on a few things and made it good, or one thing and made it great. But it's like they've grabbed everything that was popular at the time, minus base building, and just put it in there, and didn't really build it down. Look, not a AAA studio, but they're big enough and they've clearly got a big enough budget, as we'll discuss further down the road, to do some pretty impressive things. It's just unfortunate when you choose the medium of gaming as your way of telling your story and sharing your content, that you don't leverage the game aspects. Telltale no longer exists for a reason. But even they did some really cool stuff by doing things a little bit differently. And I just think, when I hear people praising, man, they've got crafting, they've got stealth, more combat is in the game, and there's puzzles. It's just... hair grows on my head. That does not mean it is amazing. Which, as we were talking about with the crafting, it doesn't even need to be there. The upgrades make no actual impact on your day.
String and a bit of leather that I do this with like I'm at a 14th century raid to fling a rock out.
That's much better. With the right materials, I could improve it even more.
How am I going to improve it? The 14th century, I'm a 16-year-old noble. I've never done anything for myself in my life, but I'm going to build a f***ing ACOG scope and attach it to my f***ing sling. Then put a laser sight, a torch, and you know what? An undermounted key opener shotgun. Holds 3 rounds.
I couldn't even tell you what a single upgrade was. I know it was like the generic sling faster, carry a little bit more stuff. Like, it didn't actually change anything. I think there's actually a literal upgrade. I'll have to look this up in B-roll. It's up here if it is. Where it's like, oh, you jingle less when you move. And it's like, the stealth is so basic that I can sprint through most puzzles just bouncing between stuff without an issue anyway. I don't care. So it's just so disappointing that they've thought, hey, we could do all this stuff to add an extra layer to the world and to the way that you can interact with it, aka a game. But then they just put in the most token, unimpactful stuff with no consideration of how the game plays. So yeah, just really big missed opportunity all round.
I know.
And then that sort of gets us to the visual cues. This is probably one of the strongest things in the gameplay aspect that it does have going for it. For the most part, they've done a really good job of, without any sort of big floating indicators, you can kind of identify what you can interact with, what you can't, for the most part. Lots of very frustrating things that just make absolutely no sense, which are less gameplay, more immersion, so I'm trying to hold my punches on those for the moment. Like, for example, when you get to a ledge, and instead of just putting the torch on the ledge, or someone on the ledge, or passing it over the ledge, you drop the torch at your feet, which is the most important aspect for the rats. Climb over, oh no, the rats are going to eat me now, we need to find a new light. Bring the torch! Sorry, this is immersion and impact. They're intrinsically linked, and it makes it very hard to talk about one without the other.
Is there another pyre up there for me to light? Oh no, like I can see the next one. I'm just gonna walk straight to it. I have no anxiety about this situation whatsoever. I'm just like, alright, I'll walk over there. Which, by that point, why is this here? What gameplay,
Here we go again.
like, what does this affect in gameplay terms? How does this affect the story? How does this change my interaction as a player? Like, what is the purpose of me walking through this rat pit if I don't feel fear or anxiety or like any other thing to...
And then that gets us to the rats. From a gameplay sense, they're a puzzle mechanic. That is their impact on the gameplay element. There's nothing else really to bring up there. Bit novel. I mean, I can't really think of another game where I got to utilize an army of rats as a tool to solve puzzles, but it's in here. Look, I realize I've sort of gone in swinging on this, and it's just because it's so disappointing, and I will explain. Trust me on this. I will explain in the conclusion why. But in any case, score-wise, I gave it a 15. Probably could have given it worse. It does have some saving moments, like it's functional, but when time and time again, you just have these detriments to your gameplay experience, and they are obnoxiously large. Simplistic puzzles with like no challenge to them. And in fact, your main way of interacting with the world is just to walk forward and sling a rock here and there. It really just removes all of the challenge out of the game. And that's kind of it. So it's hard to give it a good score. It's my thought anyway. The community obviously agreed. Community voted around 26. So that gives us a total for gameplay of about 20.5. A resounding negative experience purely from a gameplay aspect. Like, there's nothing going on here that you haven't seen done better anywhere else. But I digress. There is good news coming. Graphics and sound. Or is there? Let me explain.
Come on! I'm starting to get fed up of all these doors.
How do you think I feel? One pressing Y.
We found it! The castle!
Whoa. It really exists. Chateau d'Ambrage. It's amazing.
I had a moment of doubt, but that's the sort of alchemist's legend I like. Come on, let's take a closer look.
Is this where we get to live now?
So graphics and sound is such a frustrating one. there are some things, especially for the studio size, that are so remarkable in graphics and sound. Just so well done. And then there's these other things that are just so frustrating to see. So like, really easy example is just the general graphic fidelity. It looks beautiful at a distance and even at mid-range. And some of the environments that they've created are some of the best I've seen, even up till now. It does look good and you can't deny it. Everything from the underground lake, which has such a unique look, to the very first forest that has such a positive tone to it, to the darker and heavier weighted forests of later the game, the castle-esque sort of views of the cities. And then the very graphic, well, there was this whole thing, but you can see how diverse the environments are, how good they look. The detail is there, and so is the variety. It's hard not to sing its praises. But, in the same token, they dropped the ball again and again and again on so many things when it comes to attention to detail. For example, we see the same half-eaten body time and time and time again. For example, we see a knight get eaten and the monk body appear. We see vice versa.
That, what I was about to say about this is anyone paying attention will notice it's the monk. They've just thrown the top half of the knight texture on it. The exact same position, the exact same corpse. This is now the 50,000th time we've seen the identical corpse. They've reskinned the top half.
We've seen fire, which always difficult to do in games. And for the record, some of the particle effects are done quite well. Unfortunately, the illusion and all that work completely goes out the window the second you see two fires near each other and you realize that they've run the same fire on the same animation cycle at every source, and it's just moving in perfect unison.
Yeah, so look at the fire closest to us and then the fire furthest away. It's a copy paste that is in the exact same animation cycle, animation loop. Like, they're identical. Like, they're completely identical. It's like no effort was put into building the world and they've just gone, copy and paste some land. You know what? Hang on. Yeah, they haven't even randomized the flame or have the flame running at different increments. Look at all three of those fires. The two on your right, so just above me, are the easiest to do. And if you look very closely, you can see the fire is moving in exact unison. They have literally copied and pasted the same damn lantern 3 times across the room. Identically, with no difference.
You just needed to have a random number generator in there, or a random start point on the animation, just to maintain that illusion at a glance. Because the second it's broken, you can't help but notice it everywhere, on every light source almost. And it's just disappointing because the world is so well crafted visually. These little things really just hurt it. I don't want to throw those punches at it, but when the game relies on its looks so much because it's about this immersive storytelling experience and the gameplay's not there, yeah, kind of expect those standards to be picked up a bit. And you've hit it so out of the park with the worlds and the levels. Just details missing on the little things. But when that is 90% of your game time, like, yeah, the cutscenes are great, yeah, the set pieces are great, but 90% of your game time is in the nitty gritty. And, you know, when you see the same box of armor, this is now, again, getting into immersion and impact, but you see the same stuff time and time again throughout the entire world, and it has the same visual issues around it, like vases changing sizes when you pick them up magically, and just when everything else looks so good, the things that don't stand out. I would have rather had seen the grandiose world scaled back 20% and the detail on the little things scaled up 20% so they meet each other a bit closer in the middle. And honestly, it still would have been one of the best visual experiences we've seen in 2019 and kind of since. Like, it does have a lot going for it visually.
Come on! I'm starting to get fed up of all these doors.
How do you think I feel? No, I'm pressing Y.
We found it! The castle!
Whoa. It really exists. Chateau d'Ambrage. It's amazing.
I had a moment of doubt, but
This now gets to the audio, and it's just a bit of another mixed bag. Like, music choices are great. How they've tied some of the musical elements to what's going on in the gameplay experience is so well done. One of the standouts that I've seen time and time again other people actually refer to was when you first see the castle and the lightning strikes and the violin, I think it is, just like moves along with it, and the lightning strikes. It's like, oh, it's this jarring thing, and you feel the tension. Like, the music adds so much to the atmosphere in the scenario and what's actually going on.
Rats! I don't see how.
whoa! Did you see that?
The lightning bolt. They're afraid of lightning. Let's try it.
Really?
No! Run! This is crazy!
Really well done. Like, absolute props. I don't see that happen nearly as much in gaming as I'd like because of the difficulty in doing it. Like, trying to time and line up your music when the player has control of what's happening in the scene is difficult. And they've done a really good job of consistently applying this in a way that really works.
Oh,
It's open.
that is literally a rat pit.
And you'd want to hope that the rats sound good. The rats sound solid. Yeah, they're there. Recurring theme with the rats, really. No, they're there. They visually could be a bit better, but yeah, they sound good. Rats, squeak, squeak. When it comes to VAs, mostly very, very good feedback. They really well act out their lines. I think the writing, immersion and impact. Oh, it's okay, we're getting through it. They act out their lines quite well. Probably the biggest detractor comes down to scene settings. There are numerous times where the characters are sprinting or fighting or very high exertion activities, and they're saying their lines as you normally would in the studio, having a conversation, with the occasional really obnoxiously placed yes, we are trying to escape for our lives. It's like, okay, I get it.
This is...
Catch up with us! Run as fast as you can!
the ground is shaking.
Don't stop! They're right behind us!
Like, look, no one expects them to run a marathon with a mic, but... And, you know, for the most part, these VAs are obviously quite young, I think. I'm going to have to look this up. Don't know. I'm assuming they are. But quality overall, very high. Room for improvement could be some of those moments.
Keep the boy alive. Yeah, medieval spear throwing. What's the strike accuracy on that at 15 meters?
Look, overall, amazing across the board. Some heavy detractors throughout it, and I've left a few out because they're a bit more tried. But overall, I gave it a 53. And I think that's well earned. I think it could have crept a little bit higher had they put a little bit more effort into a few things. The community, and this might be my fault because I may have hammered it for the detail a lot during our playthrough, because it deserved it. They gave it a bit of a lower score overall, about 36, but I think that's also quite reasonable. All up, that gives this the total end score, the graphics and sound, of 44.5. Pretty good score. Huge potential for this game in the future, especially in this department with such a strong foundation, but definitely not there yet. Let's get to immersion and impact. We've got work to do.
I'm just picturing a slingshot and like...
Still no news of our young Hugo de Rune.
So, we used to have immersion and impact and game specific as separate categories. We've long since learned that they overlap too much and we've fused them. And this is one of our older games. We're just getting to it now. I'll give the scores individually as they were scored by both the community and by our internal scoring system when at the time of recording and the videos being done. But basically, all my feedback will just hold under immersion and impact, and we'll give the scores at the end. But there was some from each category in here.
You have no idea how I have suffered.
Given your face, I can guess.
What I endure for you.
Immersion is one of the most important things in, I think, any form of media in terms of whether it be a video, a movie, a game. And especially when your game lives or dies on the quality of the story, the characters, the world that you've built, the standards are quite high. And oh my god, did we miss the mark on this? I have so much good things to say about a very key aspect of this game that don't fit in these categories. It's going in the conclusion. You'll have to wait for that. But in terms of immersion and impact, it's just little things that they've done to make the game work, even though they've got poor gameplay. Things like stone being stronger than steel, apparently in France, time and time again.
To get that armor off.
Oh my god. I'm getting a drink.
One of us is going to die.
So,
And the winner
how do I hit a ring on your back
all eternity.
and your helmet falls off?
Breaking steel wherever you can find it. Like little flags identifying what every breakable item is. Oh my god, was I sick of seeing flags.
I get it's a game. I get it's a game. But if you're telling me that this is a core mechanic, which clearly it is, because the game is telling me about it, that there is a billion metal forged chains throughout Europe that a 12 to 15-year-old, I don't know, 16-year-old girl, whatever, a small girl can fling a pebble at and they will just shatter. What am I in?
I think that's a red flag. I don't want to get stabbed.
Like, it's like the first kill, right? This is a really good example of where we've just completely missed the mark on immersion and impact. She's never killed anyone before. She's a lady. She's had a sheltered life. She comes out. She clearly doesn't want to kill someone. They make a big song and dance of it. She kills the person. They make a big song and dance of that.
Monsters! Leave him alone!
So that's where you were.
No! Wait, we just want to... I didn't want to.
You know,
Hugo! I'm coming!
I don't want to spend like 20 minutes on this, so I'm going to be very, very brief. Very brief. A lot of people, for some reason, don't know this, but slingers were basically archers before archers, right? So using slingers to kill other people is not new. Very old. The reason bows and arrows won out over slingers was range, lethality, and range, lethality, consistency, ease of use, and ease of training, right? It is so much easier to pull a bow and do these ones than time throwing a rock out to get the exact right angle, distance, everything that you need to actually hit a human, because if you don't hit them with either a large rock, very, very much speed, or in exactly the right place, you kind of just bruise them or hurt them more than kill them. She literally one-shot domed a dude, first try, and this is why it's going to annoy me, is I guarantee you she will do that for the rest of the game.
Moments later, she's killing literally more people than certain Call of Duty scenes. Like it's nothing. Zero impact. Never gets talked about again, really. Yeah, there's some throwaway lines here or there, but I kill more people in this game than I have in some Call of Duties. What? Am I a small girl in a medieval, scary France being hunted by the Inquisition who are in armor with swords, or am I literally Terminator cosplaying as a weak girl in medieval France? Because, oh my god, someone missed the memo somewhere along the game's development. And then it just expands to the rest of the world. Like, yeah, the plague involves a lot of death and a lot of animals, but like you get to a farm, just an easy example, and there's more pigs in these massive pig corpse towers than would make sense for the actual area to be able to feed or sustain, that they've just piled in these massive piles, and it's like, cool, gotcha, love it. Animals died during the plague. You don't see like dead people anywhere. Yeah, the occasional like eaten body and stuff, but like, what is it, like 25% or something? Millions of people died. There's piled pig bodies everywhere. I don't even know who's bothered moving all these pig bodies, because as we later see, this kid and this old bloke on the farm. It's just, I don't even know why they're there. Like, yeah. Visually, it's like, oh, look at all the death. From an immersion perspective, we've missed the mark.
Thank you for drawing attention to me.
Here's the rest of them.
Rest of who?
No, wait, we're just looking for someone.
And you found him. It's your damn music what brought them out, huh? Those dirty vermin that invaded our church.
What are you talking about?
Would attack our children in their beds and gave them the black thing. But now you
Nice
found
mates.
Conrad Malfour. And I'm telling you, this is the last village you'll infect.
Amicia!
What?
Come on!
What?
Amicia! Just run!
Like,
Why are they angry? Are they going to burn us too?
also, takes that very well. I mean, if I just saw someone burnt alive for the first time, I'd probably be like,
We have to hide, Amicia! Here!
how are they coming from every direction? How is the entire village now armed and running at us, when every other corridor we went down up until this point was basically empty or people hiding in houses? I piss off one dude with an axe who didn't even yell anything. The whole fucking village, everywhere I turn, someone's coming at me with an axe. What is going on?
And then it gets to the wider world. Like, you move through cities and towns, and they're burning people at the stake and stuff. And it's one of the funniest moments. You walk in, they're literally burning someone at the stake, and this whole town identifies these two kids, turns around, and they're like, we must kill them. We must kill them now.
Oh no, quickly, quickly!
Why can't I run? Are we serious? You didn't even got a mate behind it. Like, you're not even trying to open the gate. There's clearly a chain there.
Just do it!
And you're just pushing on it. I'm standing next to the gate. Sickle me, mother.
You said tomorrow.
Do it.
Just
sickle me.
do it!
It's like, this isn't the information era. They're just two kids walking around in a city of death, where, no doubt, there's multiple kids. But instead, they turn from their activity, which looks very fun, and start hunting these two kids to the death. Is there most wanted posters that have been perfectly painted of us everywhere, personally handed to every town member?
Oh, wow, there's no way out. Conveniently, here's this door we can open. That was unlocked, like, you know, and we'll walk in, and we won't close the door.
Hold them for long. Quickly, quickly!
You know what?
Get away! Out of there! There's no escape!
The lock's on the outside. She opened it in 3 seconds. They A, can't do that, and B, can't bash it down. So this is what's annoying, is the game has created false suspense. It wants me to be like, they're breaking in. Oh no, how will I escape? And you very quickly figure out that, and once a game does this once, you don't take any of it seriously. Why is there a house, and it's clearly a house, because there are beds
Can you unblock it?
where both doors are locked from the outside, so that you can be locked in your own home.
Hugo, do something!
Hey, they managed to open the door.
Everyone in this town drops everything in the middle of one of the worst disasters in history to hunt 2 kids. Because they're not even part of the Inquisition. They're just doing it.
How did it get so bad so quick?
Heavy armor. We're stuck.
He's looking the other way. I can take him.
You sure?
It'll be my pleasure. Whenever you're ready.
What are you going to do with... What?
You got it, Roderick.
That's for my father.
Wow.
And look at Randy Orton slithering. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
Then you've got just, I mean, it's just half of the course at this point. But things like this kid, he's a kid, suplexes a knight. And by the way, this is on command. You can do this whenever you want, basically. Suplexes them, crushing their necks, instant killing them. Like, he's just a fully armored knight with a weapon. He's bumped him on the head. And he's just dead. Like, medieval warfare was pretty brutal. I'm very confident that at least some of these fully trained Inquisition knights, how does he even lift them? But let's get past that. Will probably not die instantly from a suplex and then turn around and jab you in the face with a sword. Because I don't really know what you do after the surprise suplex is done, but nope. Magical suplex works every time. And then this blacksmith becomes like an actual like murder whore.
Do you do that a lot?
No, but I'm starting to like it.
That's a red flag.
He's so keen for it. It's just, are these kids? Are we actually commanding an SAS team all underage?
Nice.
I might have got a little carried away.
Jesus! What is wrong with you? You're still killing people. Like, you're aware of that, right? Were you a blacksmith? Not a SEAL Team 6 operative? Yeah, well, it's like really surprising, you know. One day, here I was, hammering out swords. The next day, breaking fully armored knights' necks like they were twigs.
I was crushing man's skull like sparrow egg between my thighs.
What do you know? Just came out of nowhere. Had a natural talent. Should have never been a blacksmith, really. Well, the plague has brought out the best in us.
And then this gets to like one of the overarching frustrations on Immersion and Impact. All the Daruns share the same blood. Only the boy has this like macular thing. Follow on. Does anyone else in the world have it? Follow on. Yeah, is it what would this what's his name? Pimplehead? This guy, I can't remember his name. It's not even a villain, it's just a meme that you have to kill at some point. Yeah, does he have the blood? How does he have the blood? Why is he trying to get the kid's blood? Like, nothing's sort of explained or explored or even engaged with. It's just an excuse to drag the kids through horrible events in order to force you to go, oh my god, so horrible. These kids have to go through the artistic flair. It must have been exactly how it was like in the Black Plague. I feel like I've been teleported there. I feel so bad for these kids. Ugh. And it's just like, no, you snobby shit. It's just dumb. And it's a poor excuse to drive the forward momentum of the narrative. The dissonant, the mother. You just can't. This game, from strength to strength, in terms of just dumb things. The mother sits there at the door to the estate, able to walk out with her like servant there waiting to take the hit. Just could walk out, no dramas. Spends half a day telling her kid, oh, go to this dude, find this thing, do 7 handstands, and you'll be right. And even her daughter's like, why don't you just count? Like, I don't know what's going on, you do. Like, let's just go. I can't. Why not? Well, because I've got to give you all the instructions. Sure enough, half a day later, sword goes through the door. You assume your mum's just dead.
Why didn't the servant come out with them?
My darling. Go and hide quickly now.
Where's the kid running to? What is happening?
Madame, they are
Amicia,
here.
you have to take your brother to Laurentius.
Why am I irritating?
Yes, he helped me treat Hugo. He will look after you.
Why are you coming?
What about you?
You
You
do
have
not
to come.
need me, Amicia. You are.
Why are you staying
I
though?
need you.
Why is this? What does this
Follow
accomplish?
Follow the river. It will lead you to
You
Lorenzo.
clearly know the way. I clearly don't. Why are you leaving this to chance? And now you're dead. I'm next to the door. He opens the door because you wasted time arguing with me about the fact that you want to stay behind,
Now.
and now I'm dead too.
Spoiler alert, she's not, somehow, some reason. And you're like, all I could think was just like, why is this? And then you go from that to this artillery-filled Bastogne, where literal World War II artillery is raining around you and soldiers are blowing up. Turns out it's rat holes exploding. What is this? What is going on? Who took this concept and then took it to here? Because you lost me.
That literally looks like paper. How do we run? Does anyone remember how to run? I don't know how to run. I literally don't know how to run. I haven't run in so long. That's what Lucas is actually saying. It's actually not. And again, the rats are disorganized. What do you mean? They're literally chasing us with rat holes. They're popping up with us as we run. Look at them all. Tell me that the General Rommel rat hasn't coordinated that. Don't fucking lie to me.
That being said, there are some little things here or there that, you know, perk it back up a little. There was a scene where Hugo does in fact act like a small brat and asks for his mummy because he doesn't understand what's going on. Really well acted, really immersive, powerful scene. Frustrating that it's like the only scene in the entire game that has anything close to some impact, but it's there. The rest of the game ultimately just feels like it's punching you with, you feel sad yet? You feel sad yet? Trust me, no, you feel sad. Instead of letting you experience things to then feel sad, like, oh, your dad just died and your mum just died. I don't know, I don't care. I spoke to dad once in the opening scene, and I spoke to mum once where she told me to get fucked. Okay, sucks that they're dead. I'm sure it sucks for the daughter and the son, but I'm not invested in them yet because I just met them too. Like, there's just absolutely no respect for building up any sort of emotional attachment to these characters. And then they go, feel sad, feel sad, feel sad. It's like, you can't just tell me to be sad. You need to make me sad. When you're a game that lives or dies on your ability to do this, yeah, I'm gonna give you a hard time.
Run, you big coward. You're scared, aren't you?
Oh, man.
This is not a game. This power is dangerous. Control yourself.
Yes, Mom.
Look, unsurprisingly, I've given it a 1. The way our scoring works, you can't get below 0. So it sat on 0 for a long time, getting negative, but it can't get lower because we've hard capped the bottom, and it got like 1 point right towards the end where it did do something quite well. Buzz, 1 from me. The community obviously didn't respect it much either. They gave it about a 25, and then that gives us a total of about 13. And I'll get to it in the conclusion, but it's deserved. It's just deserved. I'm sorry. The game specific captured actually a fair few of those positives that would have otherwise gone into an immersion of impact, which probably would have brought it up a bit. All those extra negatives that didn't get counted would have brought it back down. So who knows where it would have ended up if we had blended them all the way back then. I suspect on 1. I gave it 33. The community gave it about 28, and that gives us a total of 30.5. Look, as we said, we blended the things, it's all together, but this was one of the biggest missed opportunities I think I've seen in such a long time. I'll tell you why in the conclusion. Let's go.
But lest you know.
Vitalis, let us finish this.
Nicholas, you cannot understand.
So you get to the conclusion, and you think, man, this guy's hammered this game. He obviously hates it. This guy's just a troll. He doesn't get it. He doesn't like these types of games. No, actually. I just have enough sort of grit to turn around and go, love you guys. Love your effort. Back to the drawing board, try again. You know a game that has emotional impact? Drives emotional storytelling? Doesn't have a single line of dialogue. It's called Gris. Reviewed it here on this channel. Probably one of the best games I've played. Very simple game, like this. Very simple mechanics, like this. Big difference, how it made you feel. It didn't turn around and go, you are sad. It literally, without saying a word, let you experience emotion. You know, I've seen a lot of good and bad reviews for this, and I don't think I've run into yet. I'm sure there is someone out there. Someone that was like, man, I felt so invested in these characters and their story and their struggles. It was so intense. I've heard people go, oh, it's beautiful, which it is. We've discussed this. I've heard people go, oh, it's a masterpiece of storytelling. I'm like, what fucking story? I'll take your word for it. Maybe we can agree to disagree on that one. But like, what story? Kid with blood controls rats, kills evil demon. That's it. There's no backstory to the blood. There's no explanation on the Inquisition. There's no world building. There's no expansion on any of the characters. They are your touchstones. Stuff happens in between them, but none of it's character development. Like, the only character development between start and finish is Amicia and Hugo a slightly better relationship. This is one of the biggest missed opportunities I think I've seen. The world is so visually beautiful. The music has been so painstakingly put together. Some of the scenes and setups and moments are phenomenally well crafted. And I think if we had just focused on what they wanted to do, and I think what they really wanted to do was build a beautiful world and then express a story of these two characters within that world. But that's been lost. Trying to appease to a bunch of mechanics that are unnecessary, bogging down what could have otherwise been a really enjoyable world to explore in its own right. And then the biggest missed opportunity was not just sitting there and going, this was a horrible time. It was. Like, this was not a fun time to be alive. People were desperate. Atrocities and crimes were occurring every moment. I mean, just surviving. Getting from A to B. Your cousin lives on the other side of France. Your parents just died because hungry, starving, dying plague victims just destroyed your house. Navigate from here to there. And the things that would have naturally and organically happened along the way, that would have been just as gut-wrenching to see, but so much more relatable, would have been an amazing story. But instead we had magic rats, alchemical dust, and the ability to wipe out a small army of Inquisition knights with a little girl. I hope the second one's better, because I think it has potential. The love, the care, the effort has gone in. Just somewhere along the way, mistakes have been made, I think, and I just don't think people have really raised it. What is the story we're trying to tell? Is it the story of a kid overcoming supernatural rat plague? Is it the story of two kids trying to survive in one of the most dangerous and horrifying periods of human history? Is it that setting, adding a little supernatural jazz to it to make it a bit more compelling and interesting and unique? Because we don't really accomplish anything. I substantively could not tell you what's changed between the start of the world and the end. We're riding off in the cart, the mum's still alive, the dad died, the plague ended. The start was, mum wasn't in the picture, so we've just traded parents. There was no plague, everything was sunny. Between here and there, the kid's relationship got a bit better, and we swapped parents. Like, why did we go through this? I don't even know what happened to the Inquisition. I'm assuming, like, the Pope just absolved it, but we don't even know that. After old mate turns into the pseudo-rat god and gets deleted. In terms of this, as you can see, I gave it all up a 25.5. I think that was generous. The community speaks for itself, doesn't it? 28.75. It's not just me that thinks it. They were here for the whole journey too. Hey, you can be here for the whole journey. Go watch it on YouTube. We've got the whole series up. Tell me I'm wrong. Go watch it. Come back. Give me an opinion. Gives us a total of 27.125, very precise. One of the worst games that I played. Would not recommend anyone play it. Has zero replayability value, and I don't know why it exists. Look up some of the vistas and concept art. Visually appealing. Save yourself about 10 hours? Hang on. 17.1 hours. 17.1 hours. And to be honest, probably 6 or 7 of them was me standing there hammering it over something that had just upset us. I look forward to seeing what the next one does. But in the meantime, if you want to see what a good emotional game looks like, watch our Grist series. Better yet, play it yourself, then come back and watch our Grist series. And then if you still think that A Plague Tale did this better, we can agree to disagree.